and welcome to the November 2024 edition of Easy Talks. I'm the E, Erica Lynn. My SS is,
Zinda Lynette, the Z.
yeah, and then this month, look, when we joined our call, I synced, right? Not just saw, I synced my SS. She had that Z in the bottom left hand corner. So I said, oh, before we go live, before we record, I'm gonna go ahead and make my little E down there in my corner. So now it's easy.
Hey, I love it.
Yeah.
I
So
love us.
that part, I love us. So this is what we gonna do. You didn't know this, SF,
Oh,
but this is
goodness.
what we're gonna start talking about.
Okay.
We are going because just you saying, "Oh, I love us." I want to talk about us, and again, I know I'm putting you on the spot, um, but I think that this is a good way for us to start today's easy talks is having a conversation about what transpired with you and I earlier this week. I don't know why we're about to talk about it, but we are about to talk
Mm,
about it on Easy. And I think we can just go from there into how this month has unfolded. But just with this sacred space, and with a focus on communication, with a focus on love, with a focus on sisterhood, with a focus on feelings, with a focus on individually traversing while also collectively traversing. Can you share from your perspective, what I'm talking about, what happened earlier this week?
sure. And I'm so grateful. I really am grateful. And what happened, as some of you may know, if you follow on socials or you've been listening to Easy Talks, I have taken on an additional stream during traditional hours. So the time that my sis and I used to have throughout the day, where we could just pick up any time of the day and catch up, know what's going on, um, that has changed for us. However, we have set the intention that we will make time for each other because our relationship is important to us. Professionally, yes, but more so from a soul connection. We are just, um, hmm, my sis is a life force that makes me better. She mirrors me. And regardless of what's going on in my life, it's important for us to stay connected, for me to stay connected to you. Um, and so I was reading social media, and I don't go on it all the time. And I went I was going to say the Facebook. I went on Facebook and I read a post. And of course, I read her blog. And as I'm reading it, I'm like, hold up, wait, what? Keeping in mind that my sis and I, had contact throughout the week. We'd send text messages, we FaceTimed, we even had lunch. Didn't we have lunch this week? Or
On
was that
Monday,
last week?
the day before. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I'm reading this as though I haven't talked to her and seen her in months. And so when I got home, I made it home from my stream, excuse me. I soaked, did my Reiki, because regardless of how I was feeling, I knew I needed to center. But it was important for me to express to my sis, because she's my soul sis, that, hey, I don't want to read about you on socials. When you traversing, good, bad, in between, I got you. Let me hold you up because, yes, we send each other energy. But when you don't even have to tell me details. But I at least want to know that you're okay. So I called my sis and I was impeccable. I'm going to say I was impeccable with my word. I didn't take anything personal, even though I did feel a way. That's why I called, right? I felt it. Um, but again, it was important enough for me to say, hey, sis, and I don't know how I said it because I was literally in the moment. So I'm gonna trust that you knew it was in love. We it's always in love. Um, but the beauty of us, I didn't have to sugarcoat it either. I'm like, hey. And as I was saying it, I was like, "But this is your sis, so she's gonna receive it with love, and she know this is from the heart." Because in real life, like, I don't care what I'm doing, where I am, call me, period. I call me. Imma always pick up. And it was important because I believe communication is kind. Even in the most tenured relationships, it was important for me to express because I think oftentimes when we traverse and we're navigating when life is lifing, you think you're doing it alone. And you're really not. It's just that we're both navigating. We're married, we're entrepreneurs, we're mothers, um, and we're intentionally trying to be our best. So as we're both individually doing that, it's easy to think, oh, well, I don't want to put that on her. Oh, well, I don't want to put that on my sis. But for me, in those moments where I said, hey, sis, like the way we were able to energetically and hold each other up through prayer, through thought, through lighting a candle, all of the things, I did not want my sis. I'm looking for my tissue because I'm getting little and I can't find it. Oh, here it is. And it was important for me to let my sis know that regardless of how my life has changed and is unfolding, I'm going to always be there for her. And I want to hear about it from you. I don't want to hear about it on social media. Um, so I'm gonna trust that it was done in love. But it was honestly a hard conversation, but because I didn't want to come across because you already weathering stuff. And then for somebody to call you and say, look, well, can you so my intent, so I will say I know I was intentional in saying, and because of who we are, that it wasn't harsh, but I was also like, I need you to notice, like a heartbeat to heartbeat, which is your motto, like that's us. So don't ever let me. And in short, it was like, don't you ever let me go on social media and see you going through something and you haven't picked up the phone to FaceTime me and call me, and I just sat and shared space with you less than 24 hours ago. So that was from my vantage point.
And one of the reasons, and again, I didn't know that this was going to be what I mean, sometimes in my mind, I'm like, oh, we're going to talk about this and whatever. And so I wasn't prepared necessarily, but it's what came. And so I wanted to trust that. But one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up is because for me personally, and I think I shared this in a blog post a couple weeks ago, is like, it's hard for me to speak my truth sometimes. And it's hard for me to speak up when I need help. And the other thing that this situation helped me to realize is that, you know, one of the reasons why I chose not to reach out to my SS was because I knew she would see me in a way that I was not ready to be seen yet because of the overwhelm of everything that I was feeling and my tunnel vision to just get through it. And for me, how I get through it is to armor up, to dissociate, to numb out, and to just go into just taking care of stuff, just taking action. Whatever. But I knew my SS would slow me down, and I knew she would see me and other people in my life, no fault, no shade, no nothing, they will allow me to just go. They will allow me to pretend. They will allow me to carry the weight by myself and not, not try to take the load off, not hold the space, not hold a candle or light a candle. And so it was easier to share space um, with those who can't see me and those who are just like whatever, she can, let her do it, that's what she does. And so the beautiful thing is that that moment cracked something inside of me. And she made a comment, I know you're right here, just about like, you don't have to do this alone. And I know that for some, it may be then taking a weight off. But with my SS, she's going to carry it with me. And as grateful as I am for that, it's also scary because I have a lot of people who will tell me a lot of beautiful things, and it's a numbing ointment to make the pain kind of go away. But when you got somebody in your life like my SS, it's not just words, it's action. And the impact that a candle, the impact of knowing there are no boundaries. I mean, there's boundaries, but if I need her in any way, she will open up that door in any way. And so I'm grateful for that too, because again, it's just very foreign. Um, it's very foreign to be seen the way that she sees me. It's very foreign to be loved the way that she loves me. And it's very foreign to be nurtured and held the way that she nurtures and holds me. And the experience, that I had with my oldest son, which is, how this all came about. It has stirred so much inside of me. And I'm grateful for the stirring, and I'm grateful for the feeling and the ability to feel a myriad of feelings. And also, it has just brought up so much of my past stuff in so many different areas. And what I am holding on to is today is a brand new day. And yes, all of my past experiences, they did happen. But just because they happened in the past does not mean that they have to happen today. And even though there are scenarios that are similar, I have an opportunity to show up in ways that I never have before and to navigate this in a way I've never navigated it before. There's a part of me too that's just like, when is this chapter gonna be over? Why does it have to keep and keep? And how do I navigate what I am dealing with my son as both a mother and a real life person who is impacted so deeply by his behaviors? And my other children. And we're normalizing trauma, and we're normalizing these behaviors that are just so violent and volatile and destructive and scary. And how do I cover my whole house? How do I, and even too, like I think about my husband, who is not my oldest son's father, and the impact of his behavior on my husband, on our marriage, on the development of my other 3 kids, while also holding the space for him because he is a light and he's just dancing with the darkness right now. But that dance um that dance bumps up against all of our lives in such a major, major, major way. And then seeing the gaps in these systems where I can call for help and there's nothing that they can do. And then it's like, well, how is this possible? What do you mean there's nothing that can be done? Um, and so too, it's like, I remember talking to the police officer and it's like, how how can I be okay with all of this storming around me? And what is coming to me, and what for the first time I'm really leaning into is I really get to not be okay. Like that's the answer. Instead of trying to be okay and making myself be okay, no, I get to hold both not being okay and knowing that Doug's has not only me, but he has him and he has our whole entire family in the palms of their hands, their energetic hands, whatever. Like we are covered and we are good. And right here, right now, in the moment, no, I'm not good. No, I'm not okay, while also being okay. Like, because I know this is just a season. I know this is just a storm. I know this is just a chapter. I know this is just a moment. But this season, this chapter, this moment, this experience is rattling everything inside of my being. And then I have the opportunity to still hold space for three other kids and him and a husband and do my best to be present, to be not itchy, not, explosive. And I get this. This is not something that's happening to me, it's something that's happening for me. And so I want to just say, too, like, I needed that conversation with my SS, because the thing is we get to have hard conversations and it gets to be okay because we have created a foundation where I want to know what she thinks, I want to know what she feels, and on the other hand, she wants to know how I think, she wants to know how I feel. And if I do something that causes a disturbance within her, she knows that I want to know. And if I do something that causes some sort of disturbance within her, I want to know. We want to know, even if it means we have to have a difficult conversation, even if it means some tears are going to be shed, even if it means we're going to be filled and full of emotions and we have to allow space to hear and witness the other person while also holding on to us too. And that's the gift. And it even though she said beautiful things, it was still hard for me and honest and to be honest to hear that, because I wanted to run and I wanted to hide and I wanted to just cover myself and just keep on. And she said, excuse me, then come out. Like, come, you don't have to ball up anymore. You don't have to hide anymore. And I'm like, well, what? No, 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 leave me alone. Let me just ball. I was like, I don't even have nothing to say. And she shared, it's not about you saying anything. It's about you just being. It's about you expressing. It's about you just saying, hey, I'm not okay. And that's all that she needs because she cares. And so again, I wanted to start easy with that because I want to give, like, right now we entering into full blown holiday season, and that stirs up not only full blown holiday season, we getting ready to end the year. We get like it's that time. Social media. I mean, I think we talked about this last year. Like it's spending season, and it's all of these things, and yet there are people who life is still showing up regardless of the holiday season, regardless of the cheer and all of the things. And so I wanted us to present to whoever sees this and to whoever hears this that if you have somebody in your life who loves you, who sees you, who has you, it's okay to utilize that resource. You don't have to go through it alone, even if you are accustomed to going through it alone. you get to do something different, and you get something different, because again, like, it is only because of her, it is only because of us, it is only because of practices, it is only because of intentionality that I am able to hold both and right now.
Mm,
Life is not perfect right now. The sun is not shining right now. And that gets to be okay, because there's a gift here too. But when we have our people, like, cherish them people, because they are priceless, they are invaluable, and they are sent from something bigger and greater to help us as we traverse, to be with us as we traverse. And again, not to take the load off, but to get on in there with you under the weight and be like, you ain't got to carry this by yourself. Me too. I got you. I'm
mm,
going to get up in there with you. I'm going to cradle you. I'm going to love on you, even if you're not expecting it, you're not used to it, you're not even ready for it. I got you. And I think that more of us have that person than we even realize. So again, I just wanted to put that out there, because like, use your people, and not use your people like maliciously, but like, lean on them, like, utilize them, not use, utilize them.
mm,
And know, like, your time will come too, where you get to sow into them and you get to be there, because that's the law of reciprocity. That's what
mm.
true relationship is. When I am low, my SS can pick me up. And when my SS is low, I can pick her up. That's part of community. That's part of soul ties, like
Mhm.
intentional soul ties, intentional soul connection.
Yeah. It takes me to when I heard you say cradle, and I remember I'm kind of reflecting on the conversation, and I think that's how I expressed it to you. I literally just want to cradle you in my arms, and I think about times mm, where, in an immense space of gratitude, I think about where I was when, and you've been there with me in those dark places over the last 2 3 years, and they have been extremely, but it's a vulnerability in that. And that's the beauty of being intentional about who you allow and who you share space with. Because when you're in those flow, inspired, organic, just like divinely connected spaces, you're able to cultivate those moments, you know. And I think about my human design, and I think about like being in this phase of me not calling to say, "Yes, sis, I know it's dark over there. You know it's gonna be okay." It's because I've been through the dark where it has broken me. And I know I want to mirror and be that light and to be able to have connection with you. When I read that, it's like, oh, sis, no, we got this together. Because, like you said, it's just that being in those spaces, but the beauty of having the work and the tools. But because, as you have so eloquently branded on your page, and I love it, I just see it when I saw it, it just spoke to me. And it's so you, and it's so for real. Like, heartbeat to heartbeat is what your body needs, it craves when you're in that dark, because it's metaphorically light in that cradle. It's light and just simply sitting in a space over FaceTime or in the same space and saying nothing. The silence, it's cultivation of that light, what is going to help bring you out of that darkness. So when I saw that, and the way we've been able to just cuddle, cradle, heartbeat to heartbeat. And who would ever have thought that I would have that conversation with a woman that I'm not in an intimate relationship with? But relationships are very much intimate when they're divinely and reciprocally based. Wow.
And I love that. Even you talking about human design, before we started, we were talking about each of our human designs. And just to shout out my SS real quick, anybody who follows me on Facebook, Erica Brown, you already know I did a shout out of my SS who was recently featured in Voyage. What's the Voyage? What?
Michigan, Voyage, Michigan.
Voyage, Michigan. But she had like a whole spread and she had an opportunity to do an interview and she's preparing for a keynote in January, and it's just like watching her bloom and watching her blossom because I realize in the writing of my book, like there's a difference between blooming. Like blooming is when like you go from this thing that was, in the ground and it emerges to bloom. But to blossom is to then take the fruits and share the fruit. And I feel like with you and your 6'2", like that is exactly what you are doing. Like you are now blossoming and you are just like, you have like, not only have you reaped your harvest, but you're now creating fruit for others to be fed and to be nourished. And I'm like just seeing your words and thinking of you at your stream and there's all of these things going on. And I'm like, who else would you want but a 6'2" emotional manifesting generator who is built for this? And I'm like, I see you. And it's not even so much of a seeing of as a witnessing like to just sit back and to experience you thriving through design. And it's like it goes to show what is possible when you know yourself, you love yourself, and then you intentionally honor yourself through movement, through how you take care of you, through how you navigate when life is lifing. And even that energy, like it inspired me to get further into my design. And so it's like my design is so multi-layered and it has taken on new meanings for me as I have been in this journey over the last 7.5 years of human design. But one of the things that I noticed, like I said, my SS, she is a 6'2" profile. So she is a role model and she is a hermit. Role model consciously, hermit unconsciously. And so I'm like leaning into my profile. I'm like, okay, I know that I'm a 1-3. I'm an investigator. I'm a researcher. And then the line 3 is the martyr, which is, I don't really like the term martyr, but it's more of that experimentation, that trial and error. And so one of the things that I have been sidestepping is that, for me as a 1-3, I don't have to, but for me to align with my design, I it is critical that I create a foundation. But not only a foundation, but that foundation has to be infused with safety. And so as I've been just navigating this week, I've been thinking and I'm like, huh, you have these foundations of knowledge, but you have no foundation of safety. You don't feel safe more times than not. You don't feel safe in your body, you don't feel safe in the external world, you don't feel safe. You're wondering who's going to hurt you next, what's going to happen next, what shoe is about to fall, what brick is about to crumble, what foundation that you thought whatever was getting ready to just be completely dismantled. And so I share this to share the gratitude because what I have realized is there's been this thing that's been dancing around me ever since I got the diagnosis of conversion disorder. I looked up conversion disorder. I'm like, what is that? Oh, it's a somatic disorder. What is somatic? Somatic is mind body connection. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to study that. I'm going to lean into that. I'm going to work on that. But I'm like, baby girl, honey, you right there. Uh-huh. Um, you can study all day, you can know up here, but the missing link is nervous system regulation. Because one thing that I heard myself say, and one thing that I've heard myself say often is like, I'm just ready for the storm, for the challenge. Like, when is it going to be over? But the gift of my design is that I get to experience all of life. And the key to me being able to is building not a knowledge, not an intellectual foundation, but a foundation of safety inside my
Mm.
body. That is what my 1-3 profile has been giving me these last 7.5 years. And I've been looking like, what am I supposed to? Well, what is it? We're talking about ending the 42, and we're talking about this. I know I got the 10, I got the 34, I got the 16, I got the 61, I got all of these things, and the yada, honey, without the foundation of safety, it
Mhm.
continues to just be knowledge and an accumulation of things to know. But guess what can become possible when you lean into your design wholly and fully and create that safety in you? So that way, no matter what's going on, because life is going to life,
Mhm.
storms are going to come. But if you are safe inside, what a game changer.
Mhm.
And that is something I can do. I can't control what my oldest son does. I can't control what my hubby does. I can't control what my other 3 kids do. I can't control what's going on politically, financial, the all the stuff that's the noise and the but what I can control is my regulation. And to know thyself, to know inside I am everywhere, and inside I'm still that little girl who was just like this, which is why whenever I'm met with a difficult situation, this is what I do. And I go inward and I just cover up and I ball up and I roll through whatever it is. And then once it seems safe enough, I unfold and then I live out the next thing. So again, to know thyself, to know thy design, to love myself, to say, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not a have to, it's not a
Right.
need. I don't want to. I no longer desire. That's because of design. And I hear you so
Mhm.
much, sis. Like I said, just the inspiration from your willingness to not only know your design, but to embody your design so you can reach that place where you are of being able to blossom and give to others in a way that is so you.
Mm. Thank you, sis. It's when you introduce this into my life, um, I didn't know it was what I needed to be who I am and to be who he is calling me to be. And it's so deep for me. And I feel like it's because of it could just be my innateness. I'm still figuring it out. It's not all, down to a science, but to truly be your best self, for me to truly be my best self, what has proven to have gotten me to this space is honoring my design. I mean, it tells me that I go to a negative space if I feel frustrated. So knowing that that's an indicator, because before human design, I just get frustrated and I'm just frustrated and I do more just to go, go, go. But that dance that you talked about earlier with your design is when I feel that frustration to slow down, to hermit, to withdraw because I'm not physically being my best self, and that's going to metamorphosize into all kind of things. The weight could come back, the overdoing, overgiving, showing up everywhere because that's what I'm supposed to, you know. And so having that knowledge, that tool, it's it is
For real.
audacious.
It is, and you literally, when and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I am sorry, and I'm not sorry because you literally talked about that in here about and that's why I pulled it out immediately as soon as I heard you saying that about when you got that frustration back in the day before knowing your design, how you would just keep on pushing forward, and then you even did the whole hand movement, and how it then metamorphosized into all of these things. And you talk about the weight gain, the depression, the self-imposed suffering, all of the things that came about from that space. And again, I remember specifically reading that section. That's why I was like, I had to take it out because you touched on the depth in which like we're always planting something and we don't always know where it's planted, but you were planting it inside of you and your physical body showed up with your lack of like it was almost like it started here but then it just funneled in here instead of having the process to be removed like you do now.
Mhm. And negatively impacting relationships, negatively impacting, spaces. Um, because I want you to know, I want you to feel it. I want where again with my design, I know silence can be a great thing for me because again, it's about action. I don't have to broadcast it. I don't have to stand on the stage. But I think one of the most important things for me too, sis, is that when I say internalize, it's the internalization for the manifestation and the demonstration, right? For who it's called to be for.
Mm,
Not for everybody that I was showing up and, being in those spaces with that were just unaligned. And
mm,
it's interesting because I received an email from someone from one of the spaces I used to occupy. And the message was, and it was the email it was connected to was 3 or 4 years old. But the comment in there was like, I just don't know what happened. Like we were here and then you were, and it wasn't verbatim that way, but and the old me would have responded back, oh well, blah, blah, blah. I simply deleted the message.
mm,
And it's one of those things that you look at I look at the different type of friendships and it's I just since my mind is blown away by how living by design. And I want to be clear to say when I say living by design, it's knowing who you are. My human design report, any human design report that my sis creates, curates, makes, puts all of her tools and resources, all of the learnings to make it this beautiful thing intentionally for you, for me, to have that and to know when I'm in a situation and I feel a little something that's a little bit of emotion, I can know, do you say yes? Do you say no? Is it bringing you joy or are you triggered? And if you're
mm,
triggered, three self check in, pause, homegirl, and then to be able to lean into the four agreements. Okay, Zinda, be impeccable with your word, be impeccable with your thought. Don't take anything personal. Be grateful. Always assume that everybody's doing their best because you're always doing your best. And then I'll throw the Reiki principles in there. Don't be angry. I will not be angry. I will be grateful. I will not worry. Okay. All of these things literally I'm filtering through my mind, through my human design.
mm.
And because I know I have an emotional authority, I know to say, okay. Or don't, God can't leave out them gene keys in the shadow box. When I get to a space like, well, what are you questioning me? What? Ego, back it up, back it up, back it up. It blows my mind by honoring all of that. how he has shown up in my life. I think about last year this time, and I may go back and watch the Easy Talk from this time last year just to see. Go back and read my blog post just to see. Go back and read some of my journals because I'm literally wrapping up my third journal for this year. But go back and see because what I know to be true is that honoring, of course, him first, honoring my design, all the tools and resources that he has allowed to flow into my life to allow me to see what my heart desires. Understanding that I'm still navigating the consequences of those dark phases. Much self-imposed, but some just a consequence of the way the world was, how life happened, and it is what it is. But to be able to be rooted and to sit and know, like, okay, Zinda, when this is being said and that is being said, remembering the vantage point that everybody is traversing their lives, and then you come together in spaces and all that energy is riddled in there. I'm in tune enough to know now that that energy matters. It will
Hello.
hop up on you and absorb you, which can derail you. But because I know the beauty of community, because I know the beauty of relationship, reciprocal relationships, sacred spaces, and having a soul sis, having my ace, having my chill, because I know the effect impact I can have on all of those relationships, I'm choosing to have to be my best version. And again, that blueprint helps me to do all of those things. And like literally to have a stream that I prayed for the leadership type of woman that I prayed for. And I prayed specifically for a one. I wanted to be the right and the left hand and everything in between for a woman, a bomb impactful woman. And that's who I have as a boss. For a position that I was seeking and seeking. Y'all saw the Easy Talks or read somewhere I was complaining like Lowe's didn't hire me, Target, all of these places because they weren't for me.
Hello.
But the stream that was for me literally came through by way of a call from a relationship, definitely reciprocal, saying, "Hey, sis, this will be great." Gave me something to respond to. I
That
didn't
part.
initiate, right? It was me responding. And when I got it and I read it, I'm like, oh my God, this is yes.
And just pause real quick, sis. I'm
Uh-huh.
curious. Okay, so when you and you and I, the reason why I really want us to pause here for a second is because you are a manifesting generator. I am a generator. We
Hmm.
share the response as a strategy.
Hmm.
Now, you're job searching, right?
Hmm.
You're job searching. You see Target, you see Lowe's. What is and I just want because I know how difficult it can be when you're newer. And even me, like I said, I'm 7.5 years in and I'm still discovering nuances to my design. But can you just take a second to talk about what the difference was in Target, Lowe's, and some of those other places versus what happened with the stream? How was the response different in this versus those other
Hmm.
ones that you were, that were what they were?
So out of the thousands, literally thousands of jobs that I'd applied for, this just hit me, and I was seeking, I was seeking validation. I was anxious about not having. I was anxious about debt. And how I was going to do all of this as I was comparing to what I thought and where I thought I should be. So I'm out, I'm just searching, 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 searching. Um, and then it made it to a point where I just got like, God, you gotta, it's okay, it's this job. And maybe perhaps a little bit of ego saying, well, it's Lowe's or it's this or it's that. And it's, how dare they? So maybe a little bit of humbling, right? And also, with the stream, I'd had the realization that I was trying to control so many aspects and I was being tied to the outcomes. Um, and then when I literally received this call and text, and the ones aside, another response when you talk about the emotional, I wasn't feeling joy in thinking about going to have to work security. It wasn't filling me up to thinking that I was gonna have to be, climbing on ladders and doing lift forks. Am I above it? No, but it didn't excite me. I knew I would be doing this because it was something that I needed to do to survive. And for me, as I think about it and, and process it, that was me not having faith. Not
Mm.
me not having faith in what I already asked God and told him the desires of my heart. I prayed for it, even down to the type of woman that I wanted to work for, that I wanted her to be, a woman of impact, one that I may know, maybe not know, but will be able to sow into and be sown into, you know, all of the things. And to see all of this come as a result of, and then when I got the call and again read the description, it was joy. I was like, "Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh." Um it's yeah, I really can't make it up. Just the joy that came from it and the joy, and like when I come home, my husband's like, "Well, did you have a good day?" And I was like, "Every day is a great day because this is a manifestation of what I asked God to bring into my life." So no matter what it will look like, no matter what type of energies or issues or whatever, they're not issues. They're not happening to me. They're happening what, sis?
For you.
For me. And literally being in a space in a maturity of knowing that it's not personal. I'm not here to outshine. I literally know that I am divinely placed in this space for God's will to be done. And what that, and that's going to look different for every person that I come in contact with. And then I'm like, one of the things on my vision board has been speaking, right? And I'm like, sis, I really feel like I can, I would, because I can't believe that they haven't asked me, blah, blah, speak. Old me, right? Speaker on my vision board. Was into what do you want to speak about? Well, I want to speak to people about being the first to put them first. And it could be in corporate America. It could be teens, it could be students, it could be any age. I just want people to learn that once you put yourself first, you go inward, you use the different tools and modalities, you use your human design to get your guides, you apply those four agreements, you look at those five Reiki principles, you three pasta, you self-regulate so that you can be your best version of who you were divine, cultivated, created, and birthed to be. I don't want to have a boxed in way to do it. I want to be able to do it however it's called. But God, let me be a tool. Hey, knock, knock, knock. Well, my door was open. Zinda, you want to be a speaker at this event? It's blah 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 blah. And he was like, you don't have to. And I said, tell me more. That was my. And as he's talking, that fear is settling. I'm like, ooh, speak on a college campus? You want me on professionalism? Oh, okay. And so he's like, well, do you want to do it? And I'm absolutely. But then this is how sabotage comes up because I'm like, okay, I'll go in, I'll do a little power as I'm self talking, right? Do a little PowerPoint and it's like, Zenda, this is not for your stream. This is for Thomas Rose Consulting. You're going up to share your story. Mind blown to students that are preparing to graduate. So at this point, I'm like, God, give me the words, give me the intention. Knowing the intention is to tell, to show and share. This is where I was. This is what I was here. Professionally, this is where I was. Consistently and professionally, that's who I am continuing to be. But this is how I'm able to maintain it healthy, mind, body, spirit, whole, by being the first to put you first, by having relationships that are reciprocal, by starting to sow in those relationships even while you're in college. So, I'm kind of working through all of these things, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, and then to hear you sis speak so, y- I'm immensely grateful for you because I oftentimes shrink myself still. And I don't know if it's just like the desire to just want to be better and greater. However, being fully present in each of the moments that I'm able to have, um, and really sow in so that I can be, because, like, another thing I think I talk about in the book, or we've had conversations about, is I may not be for everybody, but when I'm for whomever it is, it's going to be some good energetic exchange. Point blank,
Hello.
period. It's not me being arrogant. It's not me being cocky. And I love us because I don't have to preface that. And then what I'm finding out, and this is the audacity of me, is that I'm making a conscious decision not to have to try to convince anybody. So when I've been asked, well, why are you? And da 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 da, you'll see. It's for a purpose, it's for a reason.
Hello.
But again, that's why do I know that this is who I am? I've already known that. But my human design girded me. Spirituality is girding me. It's equipping, it's etching, it's fortifying. All things me in all ways and all ways. Crazy, right? And like even for the audacity to be like, as I'm back into this stream, are you going to stay true to TRC? Are you going to continue to make space Monday? Are you going to continue to Wellness Wednesday? On the 27th, what you blogging about? You going to make a point? Oh, so in the audacity to be at some point, and as my editor, you beat me up going through this, not physically, but it was a beautiful beating. I'm able to go to the back of my book now. When I was getting caught up in just in extremely low vibrational energy, I was able to say, okay, the abundance mindset. What am I doing today to move me forward? Yep, you've had stress. Yep, you're dealing with this. Yep, that's still there. But hey, you got that additional stream running. So you're paying on it. So yay, you're doing it. May not be the big you onesie, but right now, look at you. You made progress. You're working towards that free. You're still, yep, the marriage, still working on marriage, still working on mothering, but I'm working on me first. So in doing all of that, I'm able to say, okay, what have you done to move TRC forward today? Every day. Even if I'm doing something for Reiki to read for education, personal, professional development. I'm holding myself accountable with the audacity to be, which is why I love the fact that God put it on my heart almost a year ago. Almost a year ago. And I still haven't had a book signing. That's okay. We're getting into 2025. But I'm able to say that it's a tool for me. It's the very thing I needed it to be. And I'm again mind blown right now. I am. I'm mind blown.
Yeah, this gets to be life, and that's something that I know you and I have talked about quite often when you've been sprinkled just with this goodness. And I'm like, sis, this gets to be life. Like all of this richness, all of this goodness. And it's just the beginning.
Yeah. And the interesting part is it is all of the goodness, but like you said, it's also life. But the beauty to be able to do it and not, and this may sound silly, but you get what I'm saying. And instead of eating one no, you get four sizings of the little mini Snickers. So instead of eating a whole pack, I'm only going to eat those four because I'm able to navigate because I know that I can be an emotional eater, you know? And so even like, if I'm feeling like I want more, like, with this new stream, it's like I want to be doing more, but it's been 4 weeks. How much you going and this not like a this it's just it's amazing. But the arrogance to think that I'm gonna come in and be able to be the best at it. And then I've learned to give myself grace. And to give yourself grace. And then I think about my fulfillment hour that's, continuing to sow. And it's like the meditation for this week is part of the scripture. Um, lean not to your own understanding. And they were like, "Don't finish it." Just so all week, as things have happened or I've found out different things, lean not to my own understanding. And as I do that, I've been able to say, lean not to my own understanding because you know you have an emotional authority. And if you lean into your own understanding, you're going to create the story. And that story is not any way, shape, form on what it is. So just to man, and then to my throat chakra, like, okay, you know you can have an effective one, but you can also be blocked. And I've experienced some overactive where I found myself trying to convince, but not really convince or to show or and it's like, no, overactive. Let's get some drink some tea,
Mhm.
leaned in some blue, even my a little water bottle I picked up, blue. And I'm this hydrate and nurture that throat chakra. You don't have to prove yourself. Not so it's just the work, the work, the work. And you and I talk about this all the time, and you talked about it earlier. That a lot of times there are situations where people can put out or present a certain way, but really that's not the way. And I desire this, and I've shared this with you before. I don't want to talk about it. I want to be about it. I want to experience what I'm saying. And what I've as I've looked at my books, if I've looked at how I've been able to be intentional by design, um, how I'm doing that. We're doing that. It's hard, but we're doing it. This piece of tissue is like, goodness gracious. Uh, but um, it's a sight to see. It's a thing to witness. And I just when you think about ever seeing your work, what I pray for you that um, I'm a demonstration of your hard work because I
Mhm.
often don't think that you give yourself. I know you don't, and I've told you this. You don't give the tools. This is my new one. This not this the new version of my design. Yeah, but
Hey.
the gift, and it's not just in black and white, it's the consultations, it's the cause, it's the check-ins, it's the in general conversation, and I lean into something and then you are able to direct me to where to read it to learn more clarity about the 27 gate, and and just even that allowing space for me to apply my understanding just looking at it in black and white, which I can look at it, that's part of me, like, oh, well, it says blah, 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 but take it deeper, take it deeper and like showing examples and taking me back to it. It's like it's beautiful because I'm able to go somewhere to get correction for how I can engage in life in those moments where I need to be alone to fully grow, and then having the conversations and then the words in black and white to just it's one of the most magical, intentional, powerful, and I'm looking at my design, my book. That's why I'm looking at it like I'm describing who you are to me. That's what I so it's just it truly is a game changer. It is, and it's so much so that in this new stream I ran the free one for one of my colleagues who I'm working with in training, and she's a generator as well. And I was like, the fact that you are this, we bound for success. I got a live example in the soul sis, with this. So it helps you move in ways that I look forward to seeing the fruits because I can be my
Mhm.
best self and I can hold myself accountable and to being And as long as I do that, I know it's gonna be greatness. So yeah, I'm man, it's literally a game changer. When you talk about what's the best Christmas gift ever, a human design report. I'm serious. Merry Christmas. Here's your human design report. Live life by design. And I'm not saying it because it's just I'm saying it because that's what I've been able to do for the last three three
Yeah, I
years.
think it is going on.
Yeah. So oh, and that number three. So like literally, if you want to get something for your friend who has it all or who has nothing and everything in between, Lighthouse Kalamazoo for your human design report. And I'm not saying that again just because my sis is the founder, CEO, and lead curator, teacher, guru of all of it. It's because it literally has changed my life. For my business one, I gave a copy to my new boss just so she could and so she can learn about the innateness of me so that when I show up in ways that are not organically, it'll be lessons and learnings in it. I'm excited for this, sis. Get your human design. What's the
Definitely.
email? What's the email?
Oh, the lighthousekalamazoo.com. Boop, boop, boop.
Get it today.
Yeah, and it is for sure just, an opportunity again. Because one of the thing that I have experienced with every single person that has been presented with their design is it was a sense of confirmation, things that they already knew. And the other big piece is things that they were either ashamed of, working on, looked at as a negative, something that needed to be fixed, and it was part of them the whole time. It was nothing wrong. It was nothing that needed to be fixed. It was nothing that needed improvement. It was just their design, and I think that it just that level of freedom and just like this is me. And then for someone like me who I've been striving to be all the things I like, the perfect wife, perfect mom, perfect this, perfect that, perfect business, do it this. And I'm like, it has created a disheveling of my innateness, of my authenticity, because I'm trying to show up in this way in order to be good enough, not have people mad at me, not do everything I can because I'm so scared of being left or not being enough in the eyes of another. And I'm like, baby girl, that's all of that whole energy, that whole narrative, that whole way of being is completely out of alignment with who you are. And so it gives us an opportunity to see and become aware of our conditioning and that
Mm-hmm.
fear, and especially too with our undefined and or open centers in our design, they are that's where the conditioning is imprinted the most, in those open and undefined areas. So of course for me it's going to be fear. Of course for me it's going to be in my head and my ajna. Of course for me it's going to be in my throat. I want to speak up. I want to be seen. I'm scared. Of course it's going to be in my ego, will, heart center, that competition, that trying to prove my worth. Am I enough? Like that's all conditioning. And so it's like, and especially those of us who, are trauma survivors and all of these other things, it's like we have created these ways of being in the world to protect us in some way, and really it's pulling us further and further away from the divine creation that we are. So that's the other piece. It's just like, no, like you get to know yourself, and it's not about getting your design right, or how can I change to mirror my design, because your design is you. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to pretend, you don't have to try, you get to let go, you get to
Mm-hmm.
surrender, you get to cultivate practices that are in alignment with your design, so that way you can access them. You get to be aware of your shadows, and
Mm-hmm.
as you share space and you love on and you get to know those shadows, you organically emerge into your gifts. So it's almost like an oxymoron from the way that we've been trained around personal growth and development, around like, no, stop doing this, stay away from this, just do all of this. And it's like, no, just be you with and on purpose. And what does that
Mhm.
mean for you? Because for instance, my SS and I, we both have emotional authorities. So that means both of our emotional solar plexuses are defined. We both are generators. She's an MG. I'm just, just a regular generator. So that means we have our sacral defined. But how my SS taps into, feels that sacral energy, aligns and attunes with her solar plexus, it's different than me. So we have similarities, but then we also get to still see and witness and be with our uniqueness, even though we're sharing defined centers. Or like, we both have the 27, we both have the 32, but our planetary placements are different. So I am aware when I see her in her 27 energy, I know, because I also have the 27. When I see her in her 32 energy, I'm like, that's that 32 energy. But the way it shows up in and through her allowance, and not trying to use her 27 or trying to access her 32 gate. No, the more that you are you, your design flows out of you. And that's the other
Mhm.
gift. Like, it's not something else to try to be and do and get right.
Mhm.
So before we close for the month of November, SS,
Mhm.
anything you'd like to sprinkle on those who have shared this space with us and are watching?
The only thing that I will say is to make some time. I know it's cliche to say it's Thanksgiving, but really make time every day, not just in November, to express gratitude.
Mm.
Daily gratitude and grace for yourself and for your journey. Gratitude and grace. And remember your greatness.
Mm.
Gratitude, grace, and your greatness.
Period. The end. Well, next month, y'all. Enjoy the gift of today, and really, please take that nugget, put it in your pocket, and let it marinate in you and through you. Those 3G.
Mhm.
All
Mhm.
right. Until
Mhm.
December, y'all. Bye
Peace
bye.
out. Bye.